Hey, just a quick thought this morning. Wanted to ask you what you're reading. And, I do an awful lot of reading or try to. Most of the time I've got at least two or three books that I'm trying to read simultaneously. And I'm always on the lookout for like, what's the next best thing? What's the next title that's going to be have an impact for me and it's going to be right for me. And it makes me think of a story. My wife Shannon brought me home a book probably a little over a year ago, and I was at one of those times when I was maybe a little frustrated with myself and not feeling particularly motivated or whatever, and she brought home a book for me because one of the things that she loves is to read, and she knows I like to read, and so it was a very just gentle, benign, like kind thing for her to bring home a book that she ran across and thought, well, I bet Corey will like this thing. And so it was Atomic Habits by James Clear. And I was such a jerk. She gave me that book and I was like, well, why would you bring me this? What are you trying to say? What, you think I don't have good habits? You think that what do you think, I'm lazy? I mean, it was just the dumbest thing. And she was just like, you're such a jerk. I brought you this book because I thought you might appreciate it. And, here you're being, defensive and obnoxious. And so anyway, I read the thing and it was a great book. And there were some really useful things in there about, grouping habits together and, how do you form new habits and all that. It was a great book. Maybe not one that I would have found. Maybe I'd have found it, a year, 2, 3 years later, but it was a quick read. It was easy. And it kind of, in some ways, just was a real great catalyst to grow a little bit. And so after that, she said, I'm not bringing you books anymore because, and I thought, well, okay, first I got to check myself and try to understand that the motive was just caring and concern, and she's a giver, so that's her kind of her thing. There was no sinister agenda in recommending a book to me, but it was a game changer. And so for my birthday, we long past that. For my birthday, she gave me like a stack of 5 books, and each one dealing with a particular thing in my life that I'm actively trying to get better at, or trying to understand better, or something that just like, she thought I might find inspiring or useful or helpful as we, as I work in my profession, as I, interact with people in the world, as I, try to build my faith and, all these things. And so she brought me this stack of 5 books, and some of them, I'll read them all. Some of them are going to be super useful in the work that I do with other folks. Some of them are going to be just really uniquely for me and help me kind of move to a next step. Some of them are just going to be fun to read. And so anyway, I was thinking today, one, we should be reading, all of us should be reading. You should be kind of actively on the lookout for the next book. Another thought that I had is, well, not all books are for you. You're going to start some books and you're going to get, maybe a chapter, 2 chapters, 3 chapters in, and say to yourself, this isn't really for me. Either the author didn't get around to making their point quick enough, which a lot of that happens a lot. We're on chapter 5 and they're still telling us how great this book's going to be. Sometimes it just isn't for us. And so I would say, you don't have to read every book in your hands. Some of them you can start and put down and never finish. There's no harm in that, but just always be on the lookout. And then the other part of that is, well, when you read something that's a game changer for you, share it with somebody, buy a copy for somebody, loan it to somebody. Be on the lookout for that special book that might just make all the difference for somebody else. I love seeing people's reading lists, especially people that I admire and respect. A lot of times they'll say, well, I'm reading this and I read this and I read this, and maybe they'll do a summary, maybe they won't. But some of the greatest books that I've ever encountered came from the reading lists of some really bright people. So anyway, if you're not reading, man, it's a shortcut to your life. It's a way of taking the knowledge and experience and insight and vast intelligence of other people, and kind of just cutting right through all the years of discipline required for them to attain it, and to just take it in and make it part of you, and to have that freedom to know that not every book is for you. It can be freeing too. Yeah. Maybe it's for somebody you know. Maybe it's just a crap book. Maybe it's something that you really needed, and that's why it's not for you right now. You need to do some growing before you can embrace what's in there. So anyway, grab a book, get after it. If you're interested in seeing what I've been reading lately, please reply in the comments there, and I'll start maybe throwing in some books. Not that I know, these people are way more accomplished than me, but there are some books that have really made the difference for me and for my family, for my perspective. Books that motivate, books that inspire, books that teach me, books that help me let go of some of the baggage I've drug around for years, those kinds of things. So anyway, grab a good book, share a good book, loan a good book. It's an amazing shortcut to getting where you're trying to go in life.